Sean, Ohio State beats Penn State 20-13. Penn State opportunity at home and plenty of chances to win the football game. We're going to talk about the Ohio State angle in just a second, but Sean, I can't help but be focused by the fact that James Franklin loses another top 5 matchup, another game against Ohio State, and more importantly, a game where they had multiple chances to close it out. Situations in the red zone where they failed to convert, kicking field goals instead of taking chances to try and put points on the board when they clearly were losing momentum. And then there was the ridiculous 4th down decision for them to put an offensive lineman in motion and then throw into a crowded cluster in the middle of the end zone instead of just running the damn ball. All I can come to is this really complex situation for Penn State. What do they do with James Franklin? Because James Franklin, overall, we have total vague, ambiguous context to just forget everything. His overall coaching record at Penn State, it's tremendous. He is an all-time winningest coach in the Big Ten, probably in an upper category for Penn State's winningest coaches as well. But when it comes down to putting this team in a position to win a national title and winning Big Ten championship games, they have severely fallen short because they can't get past the top teams in the conference. This Penn State team, the way that they played, they don't look good enough to beat Oregon, and they certainly were not good enough to beat Ohio State today. I don't know if it makes sense for James Franklin to come back, but it doesn't make sense to fire him. It feels like we're on a trajectory for this offseason for there to be a big head coach opening and for him to decide to leave and to go elsewhere. This reminds me so much of Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly that offseason when they both left and they seemingly hit their ceilings at 2 programs. They could not get over that final hump. What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's a great builder. He can make a good team a great team. And he, credit to him, brings himself to an upper echelon where it's a good thing to have expectations because that means you did something with your career. But unfortunately, we have seen his ceiling. He is capped out. And there's just so much weirdness with this Penn State team that they just do things backwards. And I think he's cracking. And I'll get to that in a moment. But there's absolutely no reason for Katron Allen to have 12 carries. There's even less of a reason for Nicholas Singleton in this game to have 6 carries. Their misuse of players is tragic. Their constant inability to rise to the occasion against Ohio State and Michigan over the last couple years with James Franklin is apparent. And I have no love lost for Penn State fans. They rub me in a weird way, not the wrong way, but you're kind of like, oh, Penn State fan. Like you're just really overly passionate about a mediocre team. But what, you like Penn State fans?
No, just I don't have an issue with Penn State fans. I don't know why you have a random issue. It's just like a random shot in there that didn't need to be put in there.
They irk me a little bit. But here's the thing. They're dead on. And I don't think I could find a Penn State fan that would say James Franklin is the best path forward for the future of the program. And I think he's cracking. I think he understands the record against top 5 teams. And I think that he knows that today he blew it and his team blew it again. Arguing with the fans is a no-no.
Well, hold on. That loser, he should have kept walking. I'm never an advocate for it. But that loser who the minute that he said to him, "What's your name?" that dork turned around and walked away was really lame. So
I thought he mogged on James Franklin.
What?
You don't get to know my name. I'm a fan, and I just watched you piss down your leg against Ohio State.
No,
I'm for the fan.
No.
Dude, that is that is so embarrassing for James Franklin to feel the need to chirp back at fans when he's walking out of the stadium. That lets me know it's getting to you. It lets me know you can't handle it. Even when you're in dire straits, if you're the leader of a program, a historically great program with a fantastic, loyal fan base and a huge stadium, expectations every single year, put out tremendous NFL players year after year, and you keep playing the same act, you keep on being little brother in the Big Ten, it's done for. He's done, and it's got to him, and I saw it today. He fully lost his composure at the end of that game.
Quick thought on Ohio State. I think that we're reminded that this team, despite dealing with their injuries, they're capable of finding ways to win. Chip Kelly, great offensive play caller. Things weren't working. It was very clunky today. Will Howard didn't play a great game. The early pick 6 that he had where he made that decision way before he threw the football. Could not be any more of a blatant situation to lead to the interception. Like, everybody on the field knew it was going to Jeremiah Smith. Overall, was just not a very well-flowing game, but still found ways to complete drives, still found ways to convert in tight situations. I think Ohio State re-enters justifiably, not re-enters, but re-justifies themselves in that top 2 convo in the Big Ten. I don't think there's really much room for discussion for anybody outside of Ohio State and Oregon. If anyone had any doubts after their bad game against Nebraska and the injuries piling up on their offensive line, it feels like that's been a bit quieted today.
I loved what I saw from Ohio State today. 8th straight consecutive season with a win over Penn State. They bullied them, and after a week where they had sub 75 yards rushing against Nebraska, they cranked out 176. Quinshawn Judkins was great. Travion Henderson was great. And they looked confident. They looked poised. They looked like they've been there before because they knew they were playing an inferior opponent. And if you're Ohio State, what a luxury to know that you can walk into any stadium if you're playing Penn State, home or away, and say, eventually we're going to win this game, fellas. We just can't shoot ourselves in the foot too much. After the pick 6, they were fine. They coasted. They were good. They were solid. I thought that this team really showed their mettle, and I think you're right. They reestablished themselves. And I know they were ranked 4. It's fine that they're ranked 4. That they're a top 4 team. Without a doubt in my mind, they could be a top 3 team without a doubt in my mind.